maybe something. How is, have you found it, you're at UNCG, right? Okay. How you like it over there?
I do like the program a lot. I think the professors are pretty good mix of different experience and stuff. They do a pretty good job of balancing. What's wrong? Like real world.
I remember that. I don't like being that way. You know what I mean? That's never fun.
Oh, really?
So they have like a lot of, and I know in the past they've not.
Right.
This one is a mess. They're all three.
Yeah, I'll take care of it. I gotta.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Robbie, go throw him out of Patty's seat.
Boy.
Go throw him out of Patty's seat.
I got her there.
This is Avery too?
Avery, yes. You're here.
Hey there.
Hey, now, Chuck.
Keep your seat.
Yep, you did.
Let's put it all in one place. That's the $1,000 in the water.
Oh, we
Oh, got you. Okay.
Okay.
Got you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Try to remember to sign it.
I'll look at it. I'll
No,
do
when
it.
you sign, check it out.
Sometimes we get envelopes.
I don't give out stamps.
That's right.
No, that's nothing. I wouldn't give it a stamp.
How are you?
I was gonna say that.
Chuck, what's the good word, buddy? You've been
Everybody's here, that's full house.
been talking to
Yeah, I had to run in there.
Scotty and
Sir?
Reef.
Give me
That's on Minnie Brooks. Last time, and we just held on to it.
I've changed your opinion on the Brooks too.
For a long, long grass.
We'll talk
Yeah,
about it.
it's already written. I've already printed it.
That's
down
right.
Now,
But you kept it. I don't know what you did.
You know, all
How'd
right?
you hold on?
Right.
I still need to print. It's in the folder.
Okay, okay.
I still need to print
Okay.
today, but I've already got it in there.
I'm nervous about the postage because
That's right, you went to New York, didn't you?
No, this is a chapter.
Oh, okay.
Love it. That's all where they, okay.
Said, hey, they're not charging.
Park is about 2 miles south.
we have something. Okay.
So the logistics of doing that, do the graduation, leave the house, do the graduation at 10, graduation at 12:30, took out at 4.
Okay.
Figure out.
You might be the second.
Food
Is that
and
Pittsburgh?
Cubico.
It's
It's,
Hope Pittsburgh, just south. Usually.
it's actually Bynum.
Normally I do it like.
Have
It's
you heard about
actually
this
the Bynum
development
community. My grandfather's house is right on the right. The two-story White House across from Farrington Village.
Okay, this is,
501.
Well,
The one check, yeah, I've already
Okay.
printed.
park, there's a park, community park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all kind of growth, and big
Oh, yeah.
complex courses.
When we used to go there as kids, that was all two-lane road down through 501.
Have you read about that development? Outside of Pittsburgh?
okay.
Huge. We about ready, maybe.
Yes, sir. My clock says 7 o'clock.
Let's do that.
Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is 7 o'clock on May the 14th, and I hereby convene this meeting of the Stokesdale Town Council meeting. Could we rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? And if we could bow for the invocation, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening with grateful hearts, thankful for the many blessings you have bestowed upon us. Lord, we ask for your presence and guidance as we gather to conduct the business of our town. Grant us wisdom that every decision made tonight may be guided by fairness, clarity, and a sincere desire to do the right thing. Lord, help us to listen with open minds, to speak with respect, and to work together in unity. We ask for your protection over our families, our first responders, and all those who work to keep us safe. May your peace be upon us, and may your will be done in all that takes place here tonight. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. We're going to review and adopt the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I have a couple things.
Yes, sir.
One, item number 17, need to continue that to the June regularly scheduled town council meeting. Ran into a couple bumps in the road on that one. So if we could continue that one. Also, we have an item on here, an Eagle Scout presentation by Mr. Zachary Niesel. Out of respect for his time, his schooling, and all that, I'd like to see us move Zach to the top of the agenda, possibly even right after we approve this agenda, so he can get home and do his homework, if he wants to. I haven't asked him if he does it, but.
He might not want to do his homework.
Yeah.
I bet he does it.
Okay. I have no objection to that. We could put that right after the adopting the agenda. We can move that to move it ahead of item 3.
Okay. Zach, you good with that? All good? Okay.
Mayor, I want to add an item.
Yes, sir.
This can go in the end or anywhere. I would like to have some council discussion about the possibility of making sure all our town council minutes are posted up on our website.
Okay, I'll put that as 18A. Any other additions, deletions? Okay, I make a motion that we adopt the agenda as modified and discussed.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, we'll vote. Mr. Rigsby?
Aye.
Mr. Foy? Mr. Landry?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
And I'm also aye. All righty. Very good. Well, then I'd like to go ahead and recognize Zachary Niesel. And this is as we said, it was agenda item number 17. Moving ahead, this is a presentation for a possible Eagle Scout project.
Hi, my name is Zach Niesel. I go to Cornerstone Charter Academy. I'm a freshman, and I'm presenting 2 lending libraries for the town park of Stokesdale. I'm presenting one to be for first grade to 5th grade, and one to be from pre-K to kindergarten. So one for younger kids, one for older kids. I don't have all the information because I need this approved here, and then I'll go and get it approved by the Scout Council, and I'll come back with more information on dimensions and things like that. So I grew up going to libraries, and I know people, not everyone in Stokesdale has access to things like the easy access, things like that. So yeah, that's why I chose this project. I also plan to plant 2 trees behind these benches right here. So like maple trees or something that adds color. So it's a shady place for young kids to read books, and it's right beside the playground, so kids can go play, then read books as they please. I'm gonna fundraise to pay for this. I'm gonna do a book drive to add books to the collection, so all the books will be covered, and I can supply my own books for that. So I plan to use like treated wood, and it'll be easy to plan for since I have 2 carpenters as my scoutmasters, so they can oversee me doing that. So yeah, that's my Eagle Scout project I present.
I love the idea. Zach, can you walk me through the mechanics of how it would work? Like what you're going to build, and you would just open it and take a book?
Yeah, it's kind of like a take one and leave one kind of thing. So if it does run low, I will supply books to the council to refill it. And yeah, you can take one and bring it back later, or take it and read it there and put it back. But it's kind of like a shelf that you take books from and put them back as you please.
Okay. Thank you.
So your plan is you're going to add a couple of trees there to provide shade, or you
Yes, sir.
going to get, I mean, I guess they would start out fairly sizable anyway, right? The only suggestion that I would make, and I'm sure this would come up, is that in putting that together, that probably let's put some mulch and stuff down around there so it doesn't create a lot of more mowing issues for our grounds crew to do that. And you know, certainly I know this is just in preliminary stages now, so that's kind of a detail we can try to incorporate in that.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I know we have a book library closer to this shelter on this side, but your focus is different because it's going to be on youth books. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And my only other suggestion too, and it's hard to kind of tell where you're going to put the trees at from here, is we need to make sure if you're putting a maple or something like that, we're not too close to the sidewalk, or so roots won't grow and we have an issue later. So.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I just hope I'm around long enough to sit under the shade tree. Cause they need some.
Do we want a motion?
Great idea.
Yeah, I can make a motion to approve the preliminary plans as presented by Zach Niesel, so that he can go ahead and present that to the Eagle Scout Board with the Boy Scouts.
Have a
And-
second. Oh, sorry.
And that when you get more details, do you plan on coming back?
Yeah, I'll come back.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's my motion.
Second.
Got a second? Any further discussion?
Aye.
Vote, Mr. Rigsby and Mr. Foy.
Aye.
Mr. Landry.
Aye.
Mr. Jones.
I'm aye.
And I'm also aye. Thank you, Zach.
Thanks, Zach. Great
Look
job.
forward to it. Good job. Okay. We'll review and adopt the following minutes. This is the April 9th regular town council meeting. I move that we approve those as written.
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion?
Aye.
Mr. Foy?
Aye.
Mr. Landry?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
I'm aye.
Thank you. And I also move that we approve and adopt the closed session meeting minutes for April the 9th, 2026 as written.
Second.
Any discussion? Ready for a vote? Mr. Rigsby?
Aye.
Mr. Foy?
Aye.
Mr. Landreth?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
I'm aye.
And I am also aye. Okay. Item number 4, public safety reports. Stokesdale Fire District. Mr. Wagner, do you have a report for?
All right. This is the Stokesdale Fire District report provided by Todd Galton for the month of April. Medical-related calls, 40. Fire-related calls, 15. Other, 46, for a total of 101. And that concludes the Fire District report.
Thank you, sir. Do you have a report for the Guilford County Sheriff's Office?
I do. This report is for the Guilford County Sheriff's Office for the month of April. This is provided by the District 1 office. It says, for the month of April, the Guilford County Sheriff's Office responded to 226 calls for service in the Stokesdale town limits, resulting in 15 case reports. There were no significant incidents or crime trends that occurred in the township for the month. This is the type of call upon initial dispatch. Call nature is often changed after further investigation. Numbers denoted on the map indicate multiple calls for service in the same location. 6 disturbance, 31 alarm, 6 domestic, 3 weapons offense, 3 fraud, 1 fire, 2 missing person, 1 accident, 133 other, 17 suspicious, 1 vandalism, 3 theft, 1 trespassing, traffic 18, simple assault 3, weapons offense 1, arson 1, all other offenses 6, fraud 2, and larceny of all other 3. And new for the report this month is looks like some graphs here talking about. I see day of week and time. I don't see what's on the other axis there, but I'm assuming this is call type. So looks like it's spiking on Thursdays and spiking at 10 a.m. So that concludes the Sheriff's Office report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Wagner. Additional administrative reports. This is another from Mr. Wagner.
Yeah, so this is our administrative report. I'll start with the water system report. We have for the month of April, had 9 water meters installed, 6 water meters in stock, 7 applications for transfer of certain water meters in, 6 water meters on hold for builders, 15 work orders, 72 NC 811 locates, 928 water bills mailed out, 10 reservations and rentals. For the most recent billing cycle, 26 days, the town of Stokesdale purchased 5,494,680 gallons of water from Winston-Salem, representing an average daily usage of 211,333.85 gallons. For our most recent billing cycle for 28 days, we sold 3,678,820 gallons of water, representing an average daily usage of 131,386.43 gallons.
Mr. Wagner, who performed those 72 811 locates? Did one company do those or a mix?
I would imagine those were all done by Yates Construction.
Okay, I was just wondering about USIC's involvement, if I got that right.
Correct. We're still pending a signed contract on that. I think that there's some things that Chuck would like to work out with USIC before that contract's signed.
Thank you.
Other questions? I can move on to the water projects. The most exciting one, of course, being our Coldwater Road water line extension. We had a good progress report meeting back on May the 12th, which I believe was Tuesday, and they've made quite a bit of completion. Looks like, here we go. They've laid approximately 4,500 linear feet during the month of April alone, and so they are moving right along. They've given us a estimated completion of July, mid-July, but of course that's assuming that everything goes right and the weather plays as it should. So we'll continue to have meetings. Our next meeting is Tuesday, June the 9th, 2026 at 2 p.m. As far as the financial update on that, we're doing good. We've paid 2 bills. We've received reimbursement from the county on 1, and we just got the 3rd one yesterday. So, and any questions? I guess the only other thing I really should add is Stokesdale Town Hall will be closed on Monday, May the 25th for Memorial Day.
Thank you, Mr. Wagner. You have a report from the Planning Board.
Yes. So for the Planning Board report, on April the 23rd, the Town Planning Board held their regular meeting. They considered 2 cases, first being a waiver case, number 2602 BOA 0002 at 7900 and 7906 US Highway 158. This was passed 3-2, and that led into the next case, which was conditional rezoning case 2601 PLBD 0002. That's a request to move a parcel of land, the zoning designation from agriculture to conditional zoning, plan unit development, residential at the same property, 7900 and 7906 US Highway 158. To that, the Planning Board passed this request with a 4-1 vote, and that is why there is a public hearing tonight for you all to make the same consideration. And that concludes the Planning Board report. Well, other than they'll meet again on Thursday, May the 28th.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Wagner. Okay, administrative reports from the Property Committee. Mr. Rigsby?
None other than the mulch has been laid out around Town Hall. Looks really good. So.
Very good.
I have a comment. In the last meeting, Tim presented a couple options to trim the tree or take the tree line back, about 5 feet or so around the park, as they're starting to overtake some of the bushes and ornamental landscaping we have around the park. I have walked the park. I do think that's a good idea and would be interested in working with one of the vendors on better payment terms. But if we have the money in the budget, so we're coming up on year end, and that may be a worthwhile project because those ornamental landscaping shrubberies are indeed being taken over by pine trees and other things. So,
Mr. Foy, if you'll call me sometime, I'll give you a synopsis of those conversations I had with those potential vendors, just so you'll know what I know.
that sounds good.
Very good. Thank you, sir, both of you. Okay, item number 6, financial reports. Ms. Thacker?
All right, we'll start with the general fund. And these numbers are from April 30th, 2026. Our total CDARS for the Bank of Oak Ridge is $3,124,151. The total bank accounts is $3,358,275. The interest earned for the month of April is $9,051.25. The total earnings for this fiscal year to date is $95,119. The water overhead, the shared overhead expense reimbursement from the water enterprise account for the month of April is $11,783. Our sales tax receivable is $701. Our total accounts receivable for the general fund is $13,391. We'll move to the water account. Again, these are through for April 30th, 2026. The CDARS with Bank of Oak Ridge total $1,531,414. The total bank accounts is $2,848,186. The accounts receivable for the month of April is $35,348. This does include April billing. The sales tax due is $2,283. The capacity fee for the month of April is $3,000. The interest earned for the month of April is $5,914. Our total capacity fees earned for this fiscal year is $19,750. The total interest earned for this fiscal year is $66,616. And I have one request from council. It is in your packet for the general fund. I am requesting to move, let me make sure I'm on my right line. Line number 60,300 is legal and attorney fees. I am requesting, and also item number 60,100 is website redesign. I am requesting to move $10,000 from the budget line item from $10,000 to the legal attorney fees. It's under legal and professional service expenses. We have budgeted $10,000 in website redesign.
I'll make a motion to authorize Kim to make that movement within that same category for the legal and professional services.
I'll second. Any discussions, any questions? We'll vote. Mr. Rigsby?
Aye.
Mr. Foy?
Aye.
Mr. Landrith?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
I'm aye.
And I'm also aye. Thank you, Ms. Thacker.
That's all that I have, unless anyone has any questions.
Just one.
Yes.
Looking at I just want to make sure that the water enterprise, the balance, the Fidelity checking account, that was current at the end of April.
That is
that right?
correct. That's why the payables, yes, that is correct. As my that was the amount as of April 30th. the last,
What is the normal turnaround time from Guilford County on the reimbursement? 'Cause I
It
guess they owe
was-
us about 400 and something thousand.
it was about 2 weeks last time, yes, and we've not, we will be submitting that as soon as I get the cleared check.
Okay,
It's got to be cleared first before they reimburse, and it's not cleared yet.
thank you.
Okay. All right, that concludes item number 6. We'll move on to item number 7, public comments from the floor. I do have a speaker card here, Mr. Nadell.
Good evening. Name is Mark Nadell, 11 Wendy Gale Drive in Stokesdale. Good evening, Council. I wanted to address item 18 on tonight's agenda, consideration of an application for an alternate member of the Town of Stokesdale's Planning Board. At tonight's meeting, you, the Council, will be considering a new alternate member of the Planning Board who submitted his application on May 1st of 2026, just 13 days ago. On July 28th, 2025, I submitted an application to the town clerk, who forwarded it to the council on July 29th, and I have copies of documentation if anybody sees it and wants to see it. According to the town clerk, he was not aware of any response from the council, and no action was taken. When the current council took over in December of 2025, an action was taken to add a new member to the planning board. I do not have the date that Mayor Crawford's application was filed, but it was apparently after his loss in the election of 2025. Mayor Crawford was unanimously accepted as a full member, not an alternate, as is normally done, and sworn in on December 18th, 2025. At the February 2026 council meeting, I addressed the council regarding how I felt about not filling the open position with Ronald Southern, an alternate who has provided reliable service to our community for years. Your decision to not place Mr. Southern on the planning board as a full member was, in my opinion, as well as some other citizens who I've spoken to, an insult to him, considering his dedication to this town for decades. Today, with the new applicant being considered, it will be the second time that my application's been overlooked. Is the consideration of this application you're about to discuss politically driven? Possibly it could be, as a reliable source has informed me that the new applicant has a desire to run for town council in the future, and adding this experience to his resume would be beneficial to him. My tenure in this community, along with my experience, surely qualifies me for a position on the planning board. For the first 5 years residing in Stokesdale, I was extremely active on many committees, town activities, projects that needed to be completed, as well as being a permanent member on the planning board. After the election that year, the council, under the new leadership, disbanded the planning board and reappointed all the brand new planning board with pretty much all the same members as permanent members, but left me off intentionally, or I was not voted back on at that point. I truly believe consideration for a town's position should be based on positive life and business experiences which are beneficial to our community, and not based on social or politically motivated agendas. I'm requesting you table item 18 from tonight's agenda to a future meeting and consider my application that was submitted on July 28th, 2025. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nadell. Okay. Any other comments, public concerns? Okay. All righty. I'd like to go ahead and enter into a public hearing. This is a public hearing for conditional rezoning case number 26-01-PLBD-00002, agricultural to CZPDR, conditional rezoning, Planned Unit Development Residential 7900 and 7906 US Highway 158. The subject parcels are located at 7900 and 7906 US Highway 158, Guilford County. Tax parcels number 164094 and 164076 in Oak Ridge Township, approximately 3,500 feet east of the intersection of US Highway 158 and NC Highway 68 North, and is comprised of 39.04 acres. This is a request to conditionally rezone the subject property from AG Agricultural to CZ-PD-R Conditional Zoning Planned Unit Development Residential with conditions. Public hearing procedures: proponents and opponents shall each have up to 20 minutes to present their case, with up to 5 minutes each for rebuttal. These time limits may be waived by the town council. And I hereby declare this public session open. And at this time, I'd like to introduce Avery 2, Planner 2, with Guilford County Planning and Development Department, and request that he introduce conditional rezoning case number 26-01-PLBD-00002. Thank you, Mr. 2.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think you did a great job summarizing the case. I'll just roll straight into what the conditions proposed by the applicant are that you referenced. Well, let me back up slightly and just reiterate. So the general nature of the request is that it is a conditional rezoning request from the existing zoning district, the AG Agricultural District, to the CZPDR Conditional Zoning Planned Unit Development Residential District. The conditions that are proposed by the applicant are as follows. Number one, under the use conditions, and this is the only condition under the use conditions, limited to two-family dwellings, also known as twin homes or duplexes. So that's the only use that will be permitted under the proposed zoning. The proposed development conditions are as follows. Maximum number of dwelling units shall not exceed 46, so a maximum of 46 dwelling units. If approved, the Unified Development Plan, which should be in your packets that was submitted along with the rezoning request, would govern the setbacks, height restrictions on the property, and development, future development, assuming the request is approved, would be subject to that, or would need to take place in conformance with that Unified Development Plan. Just as a note, the Unified Development Plan, and you heard this as Robbie mentioned during the Planning Board report. So the Unified Development Plan submitted with the request, it does show a cul-de-sac with a length of 1,500 feet that exceeds the normal requirement or maximum length requirement that's contained in the Stokesdale Development Ordinance. The Planning Board on April 23rd at their previous meeting approved a waiver that basically permits this rezoning request to move forward with that Unified Development Plan, even though it shows the cul-de-sac with a length that exceeds the development ordinance requirement. So just wanted to note that. And obviously I can answer any questions about it. I'm sure the applicant can answer any questions about it as well. Moving on to the general vicinity of the area, the character of the area. I would characterize it as a mix of uses. There's residential, there's agricultural, there's commercial uses all in the nearby area. To the north, there is another proposed twin home development that was heard by this board probably about a year ago, if I'm remembering right. And that's Greenstone Ridge. That's immediately to the northwest of this subject property that we're talking about during this case. And there's also some rural residential properties to the north. To the south, there's predominantly residential and commercial. To the east, there is another residential subdivision known as Norman's Place that's in development. And to the west, predominantly rural residential and agricultural. As far as infrastructure and public school facilities, Guilford County Schools estimates the following estimated additional students based on this proposed development or this proposed rezoning. For Stokesdale Elementary, there's an estimated 5 to 7 additional students. For Northwest Middle, there's an estimated additional 4 to 6 students. For Northwest High, there's also an estimated additional 4 to 6 students. As far as transportation infrastructure, the property has direct road frontage on US Highway 158. That's classified as a major thoroughfare in the adopted Thoroughfare and Collector Street Plan. And the North Carolina Department of Transportation's traffic count of annual average daily traffic for US 158 is 5,722 vehicles per the 2025 numbers. As well, the applicant provided a estimated number of additional trips based on the rezoning, based on the Institute of Transportation Engineers trip generation rates of 306 to 337 additional trips per day. It is a large property, and topography on site ranges in different locations on the site. It's fairly level, gently sloping in some areas, it's steeply sloping in others. It's just a large property, so it ranges. There is no regulated floodplain on the site. There are mapped wetlands and mapped streams, though. And the property is not located in a watershed critical area, but the general watershed area of the Reedsville watershed. As far as the Stokesdale future land use plan, the subject property is split in terms of its classification. So the southern portion of the property that is sort of closer to US 158 is classified as professional and manufacturing corridor, and then the remainder of the property, the majority of the property, is designated as residential. And so the requested rezoning is inconsistent with that professional manufacturing corridor portion that's closer to 158, and that's just because that designation, according to the future land use plan, is intended to accommodate office and manufacturing uses predominantly. The request is, however, consistent with that residential classification that applies to most of the site. And the upshot of that is basically, if the rezoning is approved, the professional manufacturing corridor portion of the site would just need to be updated. That designation would need to be updated to the residential classification to remain consistent. Staff considers the requested rezoning reasonable because it would enable residential development in proximity to the town core, thereby providing housing opportunities for residents and supporting nearby commercial uses. Additionally, the proposed zoning conditions would limit the development to 46 dwelling units in total, resulting in a gross density of 1.18 dwelling units per acre, and that's comparable to the gross density of 1.09 dwelling units per acre that's permitted under the RS40 zoning district or the AG district if you were to, based on the minimum lot size anyway. The requested rezoning is also consistent with the overall pattern of development in the area, which includes another proposed twin home development, as I mentioned, located immediately northwest of the subject property, and a residential subdivision located immediately to the east. Finally, the subject property, as I mentioned, has direct access to US 158, which is classified as a major thoroughfare, and that would provide sufficient transportation infrastructure for any residential development on the property. And that concludes my staff report. I'm open to any questions you all may have.
I have one, Avery. Thank you for that. I've noted that 1.18 units per acre is the density here, and you gave the comparison to RS40. I would even say the more common rezoning we see today is RS30. Do you know the units per acre for our RS30 zoning?
I can do a
As a
calculation
comparison
for you.
Okay.
Because I just calculated, that's just based on the minimum lot size. So the minimum lot size for RS40 obviously is 40,000 square feet.
Yes, sir.
For RS30 is 30,000. So I can do that math for you, hopefully pretty quick.
About 3/4 of an acre.
Yeah. Let's see here.
So in terms of, inverse that math, in terms of how many units per acre.
Right.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
4/3 of an acre,
So about 1.3, okay.
roughly.
That's about what I got as well.
1.25? Okay.
Any questions from council for Mr. Two?
I do want to make a couple of follow-up comments to that report. One is on the issue of the waiver that was issued at the planning board's April 23rd meeting. Under 160D, there is a 30-day appeal period for that, for someone to appeal that. So, and I've discussed with Ms. Hodier the complication of if there is an appeal of that, which we don't anticipate, but if there is an appeal, you may have to deal with that at your next meeting on that issue. We've also discussed that because the cul-de-sac length is in the ordinance the way it is, the town will have to, if you approve the rezone tonight, at some point the Board of Adjustment would need to consider whether to grant a variance for that cul-de-sac length because it's inconsistent with the ordinance as written.
I thought the waiver provided that.
That was dealing with the sketch plan. So in other words, the waiver was only dealing with can the sketch plan proceed to tonight's rezoning hearing. But it's not a final adjudication of their right to do it.
In terms of your first point, it's not uncommon for us to hear any rezoning case after a planning board meeting, and normally that's 14 days.
That's right.
So that could apply to really any rezoning case we do. Somebody could appeal it after the town council has adopted it.
Well, not really, because the planning board's only making a recommendation. They're not making a final decision on any rezonings.
Good point, thank you.
Yeah, and so you're always, the planning board's only making a recommendation, whereas you're making the final decision. But in the waiver circumstance, that was a final decision unless appealed.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, at this point, I'd like to open the floor to anyone in the audience that would like to publicly speak in favor of the conditional rezoning.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Nice to see all of you. My name is Amanda Hodiern. My offices are at 804 Green Valley Road, Suite 200 in Greensboro, and I'm here tonight on behalf of the applicant, KRC Development, LLC. I have with me tonight Mr. Kevin Combs and Mr. Kami Johnson, the principals of that LLC. They are under contract to purchase the property and would be the developer should this project move forward. Also, of course, for technical, to make sure we're all on the same page, I'm also here as the authorized agent for the property owners as well. I do want to get into the merits of the case of the rezoning that I want to talk about. I've got some slides that hopefully we can get up. But before we do that, just because we're coming out of the procedural conversation, just to kind of clear the slate and perhaps redirect our focus and intention tonight purely about the rezoning without any lingering misgivings or, procedural clouds regarding the waiver. The way that I kind of wrapped my head around that, as Mr. Winfrey and Mr. Tu and I discussed it, it was really a uniquity created by the, perfect storm of your development ordinance and the new requirements under 160D, and sort of that evolution coming together and creating this really odd circumstance where we had this entanglement where we could move with a rezoning item without addressing the threshold issue of allowing planning staff, Mr. Tu, to even look at a unified development plan. So we had to have this gatekeeping procedure of a waiver that created no dispositive rights for us. All it did was allow us to submit a UDP, Unified Development Plan, which of course you all know is a requirement of the rezoning. So it was really a gatekeeping preliminary matter that just got us through the process. It didn't create any, as you've heard, any rights that we're allowed to assert or demand. It's not a vested right, anything like that. It was purely a preliminary matter. And as you've heard, zoning is permission to try. You've heard me say that. So if this were to move forward and the Unified Development Plan continues to move forward in the way that Mr. Greco has currently drawn it, even then we'd have to go pursue a variance. So it was really more of a mental gymnastics that I imagine as you guys continue to move forward with your 160D updates. You probably won't see that happen again now that we've identified it and realized that it probably shouldn't have had to work that way. But anyway, the good news is we were able to work through it in a way that we felt comfortable was the right way to do things procedurally so that this could move forward in a fashion that we knew we had checked every box along the way so that we didn't have any dangling concerns about the merits of how we got forward to the rezoning action. So just a little intro on that, and I'm happy to talk about it more if we need to. Thank you. So if we could go to the next slide, please. As you've heard from Mr. Tu, you've heard this introduced. This is a zoning request for 7900, 7906, Highway 158. And I don't know if there's a way I can advance the slides or...
Kim's got it.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you so much. So just a quick summary of the request to really wrap our head around the salient facts here. The total acreage, you heard it's a big piece of property. It's 39.04 acres, so almost 40 acres here. Existing zoning is agricultural, as you've heard, and the proposed zoning is conditional zoning, planned development, residential. So residential in a planned development conditionally. And what that means is that it's really limited to that unified development plan that, of course, we are allowed to talk about now because it is in review with staff because of the waiver in planning board. So we'll talk about that. And that's a firm commitment, as you all know, under planned development. It's not illustrative or just for us all to kind of see what it would look like. It's actually a following requirement that functions as a condition here. Maximum number of homes is limited to 46. That's that density of 1.18 units per acre as it works out. And it meets the primary future land use plan designation of residential. You heard some context on that. I'm going to get into it a little bit more. And a bit of a housekeeping item here. You heard the condition about uses limited to 46, of course, twin homes or duplex. I went through the 2026 updates today, and I did not see duplex in your definitions. So I would move that we just strike that from the use condition if that's not a term in your ordinance. I think twin home is the appropriate term, so we should probably just use that one if that's amenable to everyone. And that way we don't have a use condition that is undefinable. So if we could go to the next.
I'm going to interrupt you a second. How did that duplex, how did that term get in this notice, in this paperwork?
Because it was written on the filed application. I think
Okay.
it's been a lingering, it does appear in your unified development ordinance. If you were to do a search, it appears 12 times, but it's never defined.
Okay.
So I think it's a vernacular, but it really shouldn't be there.
Okay, I was going to address that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So if we go to the,
I'm sorry, Ms.
yes,
Hodier.
yeah, of course.
But twin homes, there is a definition.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Right, which is why that's a better term for everybody's purposes. It's enforceable, it's definable. We all know the same exact thing that it's supposed to mean.
Thank you.
So if we go to the next slide, please. This is just a larger zoomed out view of the subject property. You see the red star there right in the middle of your screen. And of course, this is on 158, but due to the nature of it, that long, skinny configuration, it kind of, it's 40-acre breadth really sits off more from the corridor of 158. So just to the upper right-hand corner of your burgeoning town core with the park, of course, where we are tonight, the elementary school, your commercial restaurants and retail along 68 and 158, and of course, some other residential activity that's going on in the area. So certainly a fast-growing part of the town, close by to a lot of your other attractions. This wonderful park we're sitting in, again, all the employment opportunities, goods and services opportunities. So of course, that's why we're seeing that residential desire, because people want to live where they can access the things they do every day. And we want to give them good ways to be able to do that, and in a variety of formats to do that. Take advantage of those things, take advantage of your utilities. You've got water here, of course, but do it in a way that continues to, ring true for Stokesdale and the things that people like about Stokesdale. So that's why we're here with this type of project tonight, because we feel like it does do that. So if we could go to the next slide, please. Here you see just the parcel map, again, just highlighting that it's comprised of those two separate parcels, totals up to 39.04 acres, and it does have that odd, long, skinny shape, an upside-down L is what I call it. It's got that ranging topography that Mr. Tu talked about. It's also got some significant stream corridors that cross it. It's very narrow in places, and so the net result is that the development is really contained to the bottom third of that L, if you will, which is how we get to such a low density, and why the planned development format fits so well here. So if we could go to the next slide, please. This is your existing zoning pattern. You heard Mr. Tu talk about this request being consistent with the land use pattern. So what does that mean? It means how does it fit in with the quilt, the patchwork of everything else that's going on around it? So the zoning colors here on the map kind of help tell that story. The green is agricultural, the yellow is residential, in various formats. The red is commercial. That's actually a senior living center there, but it's under red zoning, commercial zoning. And then the purple is more industrial, the light purple. To the south there of 158, those are, of course, your institutional amenities that we've talked about. So it truly is that, activity hive of all kinds of different uses acting in concert together to really create a vibrant town core, which is exactly what you guys would expect at your crossroads of your two big thoroughfares. So really a nice development pattern that's coming into play as you guys have invested in things like water and the wonderful town park, and you really are starting to see that development pattern flesh out. I know you guys are just getting started with the new future land use plan effort, which of course I'm sure we'll start to take this into account, because as you can see, it really doesn't embrace this as a manufacturing corridor. We've already really kind of, not we, the town has already kind of moved away from that. And I think you see the development and the desirability for people to live and do other things in this area has really taken a strong foothold. So if we go to the next slide, please. Here's our conceptual layout. I've just pieced together Mr. Greco's drawings here because we do have that odd L, so that's why you see it like that. But it allows us to see it here all in one slide, and you can really see what I was talking about, how this development is confined to the bottom half or third of the property. It's contained nicely below that stream corridor. So we have people here along 158 where they can access the travel ways to go northeast, southwest, all the places people go to and from Stokesdale, where they can walk to the town park or to other places. Here, all the amenities we've talked about, and where we can be sensitive to the environmental features of the site, not cross the stream corridor, not get into that rough topography, and tear up some meaningful and significant green corridors, when instead we can be more thoughtful and intentional, and still maintain low density and a nice housing opportunity that people seem to like here. And what I would suggest to you when we think about that, actually, let's go to the next slide. It'll show it better. One more. So in that land use pattern, I've taken here just the approved site plans of Norman's Place next door, and is it Greenstone Ridge, the twin homes to the northwest? That's actually not a proposed development, that's an approved development. So you see it there. And those also do a nice job of maintaining open space on the property. With this project too, I've dropped that in. You can see it basically land banks the remainder, the balances of these sites, because you get a commitment for the entire 39 acres, but only a third of it is going to be developed into housing. But the full 40 acres is still committed and captured by the UDP, the zoning that gets approved. So what that means is that it's not like these guys came in and just bought the bottom third and left the rest there to see what happens someday. No, they've committed to it staying open. Same thing up with the twin homes to the northwest. Same thing with Norman's Place. It's not a PD, it's RS30, but it maintains all of that stream and wetlands. So you really start to get this nice cohesion of a significant swath of green space that's going to come in and belt your town core in a really nice way. So you're getting this nice land use pattern start to develop based on your natural features. So if we could go back to the previous slide that I skipped, please. Just a few site plan details, because again, this is planned development zoning, which means you can rely on the site plan aspects that we've put forward. I'm going to go to my page so I can see a little better. This includes the right-of-way dedication. Of course, that's something planning in the town always like to do at the front of development so we can make sure it's not an issue later. That's taken care of. Building height limited to 35 feet. That keeps it consistent with standard single family. Remember, I talked about adding housing optionality, but keeping it in the vein and character of what is the right fit. Height is one way we can do that. One access point, that's because of that narrow frontage, and again, not creating a lot of impervious surface and unnecessary road network, just to serve a limited number of houses. Minimum built upon area here is limited to 24%, which would have been 9.37 acres, but we're coming in at just 14%, 5.53 acres. That's that efficient land use design that I talked about, containing the development to the lower third of the site and just letting the rest be and stay in its natural state. All that open space, it will be commonly held and controlled, maintained by an HOA. So again, that's another layer of protection when I talked about, you know, thinking about this as a land bank. It really is institutionalized like that. And then, of course, along the frontage, you know, there'll be nice landscaping. There'll be a mailbox cluster, streetscape, those types of things. And you will have the HOA to take care of those items. Also, we talked about housing optionality and this providing a different option for folks. One of the aspects of that optionality is exterior maintenance. So the type of home where you could still drive in your driveway, pull in your garage, get out, walk right into your front door, but you're not the one having to mow the lawn every weekend or, you know, pressure wash your garage door and that sort of thing. So just something that some of us find attractive at various times in our life. Required parking, of course, for each home. Again, this functions just like a single-family home. That's an important aspect of that twin home definition. You actually own the dirt under the house, so it functions just like a single-family house. And of course, that means you've got parking in your driveway and in your garage. So here it's 4 per unit, 2 in the driveway, 2 in the garage, to make sure that that's fully handled. If we could go to the next slide, please. We've already talked about, so one more. This is your comprehensive plan. We talked about this. Mr. Tu did a nice job. Of course, this is from 2007. I know you guys are already working on updating this. And of course, we don't know where that will lead, but looking at the land use plan, looking at the investments the town is making in your town core, I would like to think, and I would submit to you, that this project seems to fit in with what you guys seem to be investing in and prioritizing here in the town. So letting go of that narrow swath of manufacturing corridor along sort of the panhandle of our property, I think is not terribly inconsistent or incongruent with not only your land use plan harmony, but your remaining residential category here. If we go to the next slide. This is just some illustrative examples of this twin home concept. Again, you know, in passing, just, you know, from a streetscape standpoint, as you look at it, what we call massing, it feels very much like a single-family home. It has the same, you know, articulations in the gabling, in the roofs, front doors, that sort of thing. It's just the one shared wall to again give it that twin home feature that is a different option for people, but small and limited, not a row of townhouses, so that it really continues to have that single-family continuity with the rest of the character in the area. We can just sort of cycle through these several examples. And just to wrap up on our on our last slide, of course, when you consider rezonings, you're asked to look at consistency with the comprehensive plan. We've talked about that. It is majority consistent with that residential category. The limited aspect of manufacturing corridor, I would submit to you that that is a reasonable change coming out of that manufacturing corridor to better embrace the land use pattern that we see happening all around and the investments that the town has made here. Also, your analysis looks at, is this reasonable and in the public interest? So I would leave you with the thought that it is, because of some of the things we've talked about. It continues to create and add to the town's stock of a more desirable transitional land use pattern. If you remember, we looked at that zoning map. It had some purple industrial to our east, and then it had the senior living, which is multifamily when you think about it, and then it steps down to the RS30. Well, if we continue that step down to the lesser density here, 1.18, you heard is more like RS40, that comes into those agricultural swaths of green space that we saw are going to stay protected because of the stream corridors, and then you eventually get back to your town core with your park, your school, and some of your commercial services. So that is a tried and true land use pattern that this case drops right into. And it is compatible with your existing land use pattern. Largely consistent with your adopted comprehensive plan for residential. Where it is inconsistent, you have a very reasonable, proven basis to follow that inconsistency. It provides high quality, desirable housing optionality to reach a more diverse home buyer with changing needs, both those that are already here in Stokesdale and looking to stay here in a different format, and those that want to move here and are looking for something that fits their needs. This is the highest and best use of a challenging piece of property. Long, skinny, narrow, oddly configured with a lot of topography and stream corridors. So being able to lock into an efficient design like this that also takes advantage of the city's investment in water here, and the city's investment in your amenities. It really is a nice synergy of using the land well and using the town's investment well. With that, I will answer any questions. We've got Bill Greco here, who did the civil engineering layout on that unified development plan. Would encourage you to ask any questions about that because, of course, it is a controlling document as we move forward. That said, zoning remains permission to try, so we still do have to move forward. Mr. Greco would have a lot more work to do if this were to be approved because he would have to turn it into fully engineered documents. And of course, what that means is that even if approved, 46 units isn't a mandate. It's not a guarantee. It's if it works out. So if you could only get 42, then that's how that engineering unified development ordinance technical review process still sits on top of zoning and rules the day. At the end of everything, you still have to comply with all of that, even if your zoning condition says otherwise. Thank you.
I do have at least one question.
Yes, sir.
What kind of planting bed or separation is going to be provided between this complex and the existing dwellings? There's at least one in close proximity to the entrance road and the front of this development. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit at Planning Board. Thank you for bringing that up. There will be very intentional plantings. We have to do streetscape yards, we have to do landscape buffering, but what the developers have told that neighbor is that we'd like to wait and see where the road ends up, the driveway permit ends up coming in and seeing how much space we have, and then just giving as much as we can to that buffer area so that once we know where the actual road would be, then they'll know how much space they have and how much but their intention is to fully landscape it and screen it. With the, whatever space ends up being there will be fully planted. And when would that commitment be committed to writing and submitted to the town?
So as I was saying a moment ago, if zoning is approved, then all the, engineering details start happening. So the driveway permit, DOT would say, yep, that's where it's gonna be. Then we would know, and that would be a part of the landscape plan that gets approved through Mr. 2's process, and it would show all of that and be in writing, be enforceable, be predictable and transparent to you and the neighbors.
One very simple question. What is the average sales price estimate and square footage estimate for these?
Square footage, I'm not sure. We try to follow the 160D guidelines to not focus on that too much, but happy to certainly share the thinking. The land value, the purchase price will be a function of once these get built, the cost of the land, the cost of all the improvements, cost of all the construction, and then you kind of, back into a number. So hard to predict, but I'm sure you're pretty familiar with some of that pricing and other things you're seeing in the area. The square footage is what, 2,700?
The best way to answer the price is, y'all know how long it's been since we did Floyd's piece down here, and we still haven't got to a grading permit yet. And so we would be probably 2 years away from construction, and if history tells us anything in the past couple years, there's no way anything would be under $400,000.
Okay.
That is as of today.
Yeah, and that's all I'm asking for is a rough.
That's a very hard question for us to answer.
Right.
And also, we're not the ones building it. But the in-unit price has everything to do with what we're selling the pads for, and there's no way that it could be less than $400,000.
Gotcha.
If that helps answer your questions.
Yeah, just want a kind of rough estimate of, if people ask,
Oh, yeah. And I believe it's hard for us to commit on the square footage because obviously we'll try it maxed out. Those are not our plans. Those are actually the builder's plans that we're dealing with up on Troublesome Creek, which
Greenstone?
But that's no guarantee that they will do that here. That's more or less pioneering down there to see what the market wants for a plan. So it'd be hard to commit to any of that on this project.
That's the match that they have currently slated, that seems to be in demand here. You know, it's a very comparable product with the nice single-family homes.
With this being a new product and new for the area, even in Northwest Guilford County, we could see it evolving even in Greenstone and carrying over into here. But what the market is, just trying to make the plan better and maximizing the smaller footprint that we have. That's normally how it works.
It looks like it sits pretty far off 158, which is a derivative of the parcel itself. Do you know about how many linear feet lot number 1 is off of 158?
If I remember correctly, it's almost 700.
So 2 football fields.
I'm going to sit down just in case anybody else would like to get up, but I'm here for any other questions.
Okay, thank you, Amanda.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to offer any comments in favor? There being none, I'll move on to any folks that want to express an opinion against. There being none. Okay, with that said, I'll go ahead and declare that this public hearing is closed. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, one thing I should add, at the planning board meeting, the planning board did a condition to the granting of the waiver, and that condition was predicated on there being the developer working with the fire department to establish a turnaround spot or perhaps additional hydrant. So I don't know where that stands.
Yes.
With the fire department.
Yes, thank you. So I will say on the record that we are amenable to that condition, and we'll reiterate to you tonight that, yes, we're happy to add that. Really, that's built into the process anyway, because as I've said, we have to continue to keep working on this with planning staff. So certainly, we'll keep fleshing those conversations out and address that as the fire chief sees fit.
We had several, I was in one, Tommy had one without me, but we've had several conversations with Todd on the appropriate way to do it, and we very much agree with him and amenable to it.
Okay.
I'll start out with a motion if you like.
Okay, that'd be great.
I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion to approve rezoning case 26 PLBD 00002, requesting the change from AG to CZPDR for the properties located at 7900 and 7906 US Highway 158. This rezoning is in the public interest as it provides low-density housing options consistent with the town of Stokesdale residential developments and has been recommended by staff and the planning board.
Mr. Foy, I will second your motion if you will accept an amendment to make sure the staff and the town attorney strike the word duplex from the application and the other associated paperwork to make sure that there's no confusion going forward.
I'm happy to include that in the motion as stated.
Mr. Boyd, did you also want to say that it's largely consistent with the long-range plan?
If you would like me to, I will, but I hadn't written that one down. But
Okay.
But I would also add that it's consistent with the long-range plan.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Still have my second.
Very good. Any further discussion?
Guys, I'm a little confused at what point that we're going to have the information about screening the existing single-family dwellings from this complex written down and enforceable in such a way that we don't have to go back and rework anything. Would that be done at site plan approval, Mr. Tew?
My understanding of how the process will work after the rezoning decision is made by this board, if the rezoning is approved, my understanding of the process is that a plat would be required to subdivide the property into the lots, right? As part of, well, let me think about this. Because this is a condition, this is a planned unit development, I do not, and just because of the type of use that it's proposing, I do not think a landscape buffer will be required between this and an adjacent residential use, like you might see with, if it was a commercial use or something like that. That's how the ordinance determines landscape buffer requirements between different lots. It's based on the use of the subject property and the use of adjacent property. So if the adjacent use is residential and this use is residential, I don't think a landscape buffer would be required by the ordinance.
I also have shared Tim's concern, and I'm glad he brought it up. I think we're speaking specifically to the property to the west that's been there a long time, not the new houses on the other side.
I'm speaking about the Sharon property. I had to get the magnifying glass to be sure I was right.
The best thing, in my opinion, from my experience doing this many times, and we would love to hear from Mike as well, we've had, Tommy's had some conversations with Mike. There's a natural patch of woods there. That,
Well,
I think more preservation of that instead of adding landscaping would maintain a better buffer.
yeah, and we probably need to get you up to the microphone, really, because it won't be picked up in our recordings and what have you.
I think they know where I live. I'm Kevin. Mike, or wouldn't you be, rather just those woods be preserved there?
Yeah, the big thing is.
Again, guys, the YouTube channel doesn't pick this stuff up unless you have your microphone,
Yeah.
and sometimes the clerk doesn't get the
I-
minutes right.
I believe, and I just want, you correct me if I'm wrong, there's very mature wood line there that we would like to preserve, and I think Mike would like for us to preserve, but all that is predicated on DOT and where they allow us to do our curb cut. Where we got it drawn would allow that to be everything to stay.
Well, Mr. Combs, we cover this base pretty much every case, and
Yeah.
that's just all me and Mr. Floyd trying to do.
No,
here,
I
is
understand
make sure
that,
we
and
get a
I'm
good
trying to
outcome,
answer.
the first time.
Say that again.
I said, if we cover it now, we'll make sure we get a good outcome for all parties
Yeah,
concerned the first
yeah.
time
And-
without having rancor later on over
Yeah,
something.
and Tim, as always, we've tried very hard to work with everybody and everybody affected, and we will continue to do so. And it has to go back through all the other departments involved in Guilford County. They've already looked at it one time, and they'll have to go back through it all again. And that's just how the ordinance is.
What I hear Mr. Tew saying, nothing is required.
It's not required, but our intent, and the only thing that can change that is DOT's location of our curb cut, which we cannot answer now until it goes back to DOT.
And once we put it on a UDP and then a subsequent preliminary subdivision plan and then eventually the recorded plat, it is required. So in other words, we can offer to do more than your ordinance requires. And so we are telling you tonight that we will do that. We just can't define it yet because if the goal is to keep the existing vegetation, if that's Plan 1, we have to first see how much we can keep. And then there'd need to be a contingency plan if DOT makes us shift the road a little bit to get him still some, significant appreciable plantings there. But either way, we will absolutely, to your point, put that on the UDP, and then it'll make its way to the preliminary subdivision plat, and then it'll make its way to the recorded plat so that it's enforceable and transparent and lives in something that is a regulation, since it doesn't live in your zoning ordinance.
Even on the final plat, if we have to label it as tree preservation, for adequate screening there, because what's there would take years to duplicate.
I think that's good. But I know from a practical standpoint, you guys would, of course, work with the homeowner and try to do what's possible. Just in the event that you guys chose to sell this off, whenever, which is your right, how can we protect that homeowner to the west of the property?
We would give everybody exactly what they wanted right now. We don't have that ability until we go through the rest of the process with all the regulatory boards that have to look at this and approve it.
Right.
So,
Good.
but our intent, and I think it's best for Mike too, is to leave that natural wood line that's there that's very mature. And that would be our best intent too, so.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Well, Mr. Sheridan, I, for one, would be happy to hear from you if you want to speak to the board about this issue. If I may, Mayor.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't want to jump over you.
No, you're good. I want to hear from you too.
Mike Sharon, in which, where the property comes in, it's right beside my house and it is a narrow strip there. The thing that was in question, which we've talked on the last meeting, that, you can just imagine if, it's your bedroom there, all the cars are going in at a certain time in and out, and you can't control when cars go in and out. But still, it does need to be some type of buffer there to control the noise. And what Kevin said, yes, that will take some of it out. And the thing I'd like to ask y'all, if everything goes through and they're given a time limit, it might be a year, 2 years, or whenever this, if everything goes through fine. When, and I guess y'all can't answer this, when do you think that actually, or you might can tell me when it will actually, you will know from DOT? Because if I don't,
If we pass here tonight, Bill has a lot of drawings.
yeah, I'm real familiar with the.
Fully engineered, and I mean, it's probably a 6-month process. I mean, when we have something
The bit-
to circulate through everybody else, fire department, et cetera, DOT.
The biggest thing is just like what he said, you actually do not have to do anything.
No, we don't, first off, we want to be a good neighbor, I think.
Yeah, believe me, I'm.
Taking off from the practicality and business standpoint, that costs a lot of money taking all those trees. So, I mean, it works best for everybody. It's like 34 feet here from the back of the ditch line to your property line.
I guess probably what I'm saying, if it was to go some way different, and, Kevin, if.
We don't know that until we get through this process, and DOT will not tell us this location of this driveway, which is dead center of the property, is okay. That's the ambiguity here, and there's no way to know that until we pass it tonight. Because DOT will not look at it or let us go any further.
Yeah, the biggest thing with me, I'm gonna be prepared. I'm gonna, if it doesn't happen and nothing is there to fix me some type of separation from the two, I need to be getting prepared because, I mean, if you can just imagine your home's there the same way, you'd want to be blocked off from it too. Nothing to do with the development.
From a marketability standpoint, we want that as well. And beyond all that, we don't want to upset this.
That's, yeah, well.
Tim, the way the ordinance is written and all, until we go to DOT and get this location approved, which I think the planner and the attorney understand that, we can't really commit to anything. We could add a condition that we don't have to, but we don't know. We think DOT will approve it because we drew it that way. And if it is, our intent is to leave a natural buffer. I don't know how to guarantee that, y'all, or I don't even know if there's a mechanism to do that right now.
Well, I was just trying to get y'all can't commit to any time frame, and you can't either because we're dealing with DOT. But if it's something different with it.
Me and you and Tommy will get together and we'll figure it out. We don't want to upset you.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you've done developments for me, so I know all about it. We're good with that, but just the biggest thing is, well, the first thing that we clarified the duplex, and that was the letter that was received, again, listed as duplex, and that's what actually me and Tommy was talking about earlier outside, and he assured me with the value of the land and whatever, really, if somebody comes and offers them a ton of money and want to come in and do it, they're going to have to do something similar to what y'all doing to subsidize for, they can't go in and put regular duplexes.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, just the cost of the infrastructure, even if the land was given to us, does not allow affordable housing. It just doesn't. We have to have a certain return off of our investment well for doing all this work, money sitting there for so long. That puts it at a certain price, and pretty much, there's no way one of these things would be under $400,000 of new construction. But as we sit here today, and it being a year and a half or 2 years before you start building, especially with inflation that we're dealing with, in our industry, we don't see it coming down.
Yeah, I'm just
Thank you,
trying to
Tim,
focus on that border
for
business.
asking me
Oh,
to come up.
all right, yeah, thank you, sir.
And Tim, I hope you understand, just like with some of the stuff with the ordinance, and this being all new, we're all pioneering and fumbling through the ordinance. And I think like Amanda said, and I believe the planner and attorney, everybody needs to get there and clean it up where issues like this can be addressed.
We all got a job to do here.
Yeah.
So Mr. Ford, what I hear Mr. Tews saying is no border separation fence, nothing is required. I hear the applicant and the neighbor in conversation here that they seem to feel like they can sort this out no matter what happens. And so as long as the town doesn't have any liability to reach back and back up if we approve this and mitigate any dispute that should occur between these two parties, then I'm comfortable with it. But I think the key point you made is, should this project be sold to somebody else, things happen. And as far as that goes, should Mr. Sharon sell his property and move? We could be dealing with different people, one way or the other. And so if, I'm comfortable voting for it like this, but I just can't say that it feels good to me. I wish it was more better defined.
I think the explanation, both the attorney, Ms. Hodiern, and the developer, Mr. Combs, made a lot of practical sense from what Kevin was saying. They just don't know yet from a DOT perspective, and the intent would be to preserve as much of that hardwood, especially as they can. If anything, it's the right thing to do. If anything, it will cost a fortune to have to take it down. But also, to add to what you're saying, Ms. Hodiern was saying that once they get to the site plan, and please correct me if I'm wrong, the vegetation, the barrier vegetation between this property and Mr. Sharon will be much more outlined in that site plan. And once it's in that site plan, it becomes a legal document that Mr. Combs and Mr. Johnson have to adhere to, or if they, for some reason, wanted to sell it off down the road, the buyer of that would have to adhere to. I believe it's their intent to develop it, and I know that they're going to want to work with Mr. Sharon. They've probably known him for as long as I've been alive, so I have no doubt about that. So I feel good about where we are. I am glad we talked about it though, because that was one of the sticking points, I guess, to talk about tonight.
Mr. Winfrey, we okay as far as town liability here? We don't have any further responsibility to mediate should this go in
No, I
an
mean-
unexpected direction, do we?
I mean, no, I mean, I think we're fine. I mean, your decision is this good zoning or bad zoning? Is this a good use of this property or not a good use of the property? And so that's, and the fact the ordinance does not require a buffer, between them, is not something you can fix tonight. And so I
Well,
think you're in good shape.
I call them the way I see them. I know this is gonna be a big change for the neighborhood when all these people move in.
But one thing I would add, though, ultimately, this buffer area we're talking about, to the extent it exists down the road, that will ultimately be the HOA's responsibility. At some point, when the project's built out and sold out, then the HOA will assume responsibility for this buffer.
Okay, well, what I hear, it's not required, and the applicant's not offering up any particular condition that's binding at this point in time. That's what I hear.
That's correct.
Any further discussion? I'll call for a question and a vote. Mr. Rigsby.
Aye.
Mr. Foy.
Aye.
Mr. Landrith.
Aye.
Mr. Jones.
I'm,
And I am also aye.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, folks. Appreciate all the input and we'll move along. Okay. Thank you, folks.
Mr. Mayor, could I be excused for the remainder of that?
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for being here. Appreciate you coming and your input, Avery.
and I thank you as well.
See, can we take a 5-minute?
Yeah. With that, before we move on, if we could take maybe a 5-minute calls for the pause, or pause for the calls.
All right.
Take a quick recess for about 5 minutes.
No, it's not even 12 o'clock yet. Why are you taking a break? Good. Congratulations. Yes. And I was thinking the land use committee, their minutes. Yeah.
That was item A.
Aaron is the secretary, taking minutes. Aaron Babbitt.
You're on the committee, right? I am.
Yeah, you're welcome, thank you.
I was asking if there's any, bubble maps drawn, or, list of goals.
Oh,
I
yeah,
imagine
so,
there's a reason y'all are
yeah, so,
tend to get things going.
and we've had 3 meetings, and unfortunately, I couldn't make the meeting last night, but we did meet last night. Meet again on the 27th.
Quarterly issue, it'll come out first week of June.
No subject.
I just take like a half a year.
I don't know if we will,
Okay.
but
Email that.
it's always,
I know, let me-
yeah. It's a pretty sharp group.
I mean, it's pretty,
Pretty pleased.
yeah, okay, that's just,
Yeah.
well, I mean, draft.
Yeah, good group.
Yeah, so what we'll do is, once all the
Yeah,
changes.
thank you, great job in the presentation, good to see you.
I thought we were gonna talk about the schedule of fees tonight, but although it's part of the budget, it can be amended at any time, whereas the budget can't. Really,
Yeah, old elements for, Randall.
I guess the stake of it all is the
Yeah, that's right.
budget ordinance. The meat and potatoes are the
You are-
tables, and so
Oh,
you're not really voting on the tables, you're voting on the ordinance, but the tables explain what's in the ordinance. And so, once Kim gets that updated, kind of once council's done changing it, we'll let it be known to the public that the council's been presented a final budget, and that a public hearing notice will be presented, and the public hearing will be on June the 11th, so we gotta do anywhere from June the 1st through the 15th of May or so. We should be good, because you can't do it more than 25 days, can't do it less than 10.
Can't advertise it.
That's right.
But I could get it by the last weekend.
Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And I won't go into too much details because frankly, not much detail, just an overview.
Yeah, that's right, absolutely.
Just a brief overview of how we would do on all 3 days.
Not a problem. Not a problem. We'll just make sure to, trying to think, what else is there? I guess, if you want, because right now, the way we've got it, we've got all these other tables, or columns rather, for previous years. This year. I didn't want to bombard you
Yeah, yeah, just.
Okay, that's fine.
Purchaser, lawful, certified funds. We withdraw stuff, record it. And then a week later, they get this letter from the this check has been assigned. Actually, we've already dispersed. And
She's thorough.
yellow more. But it turned out that they had missed one check.
Or Bill Gray.
Cancel all the checks.
Yeah, you're right. He knows his stuff.
And so,
Yes.
So that's why.
And if you're not sure, he'll let you know. He knows. But he does. He's very, very knowledgeable.
well, I got some snack lunch at free cash. Paperback full of.
Now, granted, there's been two times, well, at least one time, when Justin was still our planner. I remember getting an interpretation. The ordinance said two things about the same thing. One section said this, one section said, Justin grabbed onto this one, Bill grabbed onto this one. So it was up to council.
You did.
Okay.
I opened, yep, you did. I opened it up,
All right,
and it has been signed.
okay.
Good job.
Perfect, okay. Very good.
You're not the only one that does that, Chuck.
Except for this transfer. you have to
That's
do
right.
the
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Sorry it took me so long to get to you.
When
Have a
I
good one.
did, I thought, Lord, watch them do such a hard job. But I had to do it.
Well, that's right, that's good.
Yeah, at least it wasn't an amendment, though. I found the money in the category.
He has?
Because I think it was 210.
Yes, he got it in December. It's funny. I knew he was going out, and he said, I'm gonna make it Tuesday. I'm going out anyway.
Well, you know,
He cracked me up.
Bob Hornick left summer. Negotiations and so forth and hiring.
Doc, how are you? Good?
They still take swipes at me.
Y'all got it made.
No, you do.
I wanted to ask Rob this now, y'all been closed on Monday, y'all coming in on Friday? Okay, yeah, I'll be counting on that. No, I was looking at my the map on the phone, so I was trying to like zone in and see it like live, because those drones are hard to see. So, I'm working, man.
Hey, Patty,
I'm gonna get my $5 worth.
you writing up something today? I'm gonna be quiet, so stay out of you.
No, on my filing fee, I can count that too.
Yeah, I hear you.
I
You won't get none of that, I don't think. You,
I've
I
never heard
doubt.
that. I'll have to remember that.
Oh, Lord. Okay. Where'd CW go?
losing people, ain't we?
Where'd CW go? He leave?
He gets up early.
Well, I hope he didn't get discouraged.
Give Chuck another minute or two.
I hate to table this, but I guess I'm on it.
Let's go ahead and do it to it, bud. Where's Chuck?
He went to the restroom.
Who's that guy
Tim, I
sitting
want
in there back?
I was fixing to ask you.
I don't know.
I'm glad you asked Mike to speak. I'm glad you asked Mike to speak. But he probably wouldn't have unless you asked him.
Well,
But he does.
do you realize how many of these meetings I've sit through over the years?
Oh, that's the water guy.
Well over 100, well over 100.
I'm sure.
That's the water guy. The water tank guy.
That's Scott.
Okay, that's why he looks funny.
Yeah, I thought he did. I'm sitting there, even though I got glasses, I still can't see that good.
I didn't recognize him at first.
Sure did give us a lot to read.
Okay. We ready to reconvene? If everyone would take their places. Just another second. We good? Okay, I'll go ahead and call this meeting back to order. We'll move on to old business items. This will be item number 9, consideration of a cost proposal for contract services for the town of Stokesdale's elevated storage tank. We'll recognize Scotty.
Yes, sir. How are you, gentlemen?
Very good. Welcome. Thank you.
Appreciate you being here.
I got one. Sir, just in case I get questions.
Thanks for hanging out all this time.
I told Robbie, I said, 9 o'clock's my bedtime.
Earlier when he asked, I said, I think 7:30 would be a good bet. If you get here by 7:30, I was only an hour
We're
off.
too bad off. Well, I've been sitting in meetings and conferences for 3 days, and if you guys, I'm sure everyone's been in those kind of meetings where it's like watching paint dry on the wall, and you're just like, oh, how much longer do I have to be here? So this is actually good to be out of those meetings. So basically, I'm here at the bequest of the board. Chuck, myself, and Robbie have talked about the contract services. Just want to go back to that special meeting about the active mixing. I understand you guys evaluated. I think at this time you felt that maybe we'll punt and just wait to see what happens. I told Robbie that when the temperature gets up, we're already getting there. Once that valve gets installed, we'll go up and we'll do some chemistry. We'll test the water at the top to see if you have a residual and compare it to the bottom. And then we'll share those results. I'll get them to Robbie. I'll work with Gary. We'll get you some results to see how effective that valve is. I think, like anything else, I think redundancy is always good, especially when we deal with water and sewer and infrastructure. And so we'll see what kind of effectiveness that's yielding. And if you feel comfortable with that, then hey, that's great. You don't need to add the expense of an active mixer. But if it's something that you guys say, maybe we need that 1-2 punch, that's something you can look at budgeting at another time. So I just want to kind of go back to that, and I'm really here to answer any questions. I think Chuck, myself, Robbie talked about the contract for services, the merit of that, the difference of that, and versus like in 2019, when you guys sent out a spec and you said, we want a cost to do this, and that's all, and then when it's done, we're going to walk away. This is an engineering professional service that is in perpetuity. As long as you guys hire us and want us to be here, it continues. If you guys say, you know what, we're going to cut this service, then it goes away. So that's really your only guy. You kind of got us over the barrel where we can't fire you unless you don't pay us, but at any given time, it is an annual service that each year you receive a budget letter and you and your appropriation funding workshops determine whether you want to move forward or not. And so, and I gave Robbie a contract on 2 different looks or versions. Didn't know if anybody had any questions about that information. I think what we did do and what we changed was that there was I think you may have some ARPA money or something of that nature. There was kind of a desire, let's get this tank done on the first year, change the color, one that helps your water quality in conjunction with the valve that you're going to be installing, because the lighter the color, the less UV rating, and it doesn't heat up that steel, which we call thermal loading, which causes the water to heat up, which helps the chlorine to dissipate. And so we gave you what that would look like. And I believe on the 10-year spread, it was actually cheaper, because keep in mind, inflation's a real thing. It's already ticked up, in light of the what's going on in the theater in the Middle East. We don't know where that's going to end. So basically, by moving that exterior up, I think 3-4 years, it actually costs less than the first pass that we talked to you guys about. I'm not sure the numbers. I think it was like 33 and something. The first one, this one's like 30,000. So times about $30,000 less doing it this way. Plus, you get the tank up to standard immediately. So there's a lot of benefit to that. So, any questions for you all?
Thank you, Scotty. I don't necessarily have a question for you. We have discussed this, and I've just as one council member, I'm a proponent of getting on a plan, maintenance plan like this.
Sure.
A question that we had, so I'll bring it to Chuck, was how does the Mini Brooks Act apply to this, and is the town on the right track, or do we need to,
Yeah, my initial review of this was that it didn't, a lot of the expense was associated with painting and doing other things, which I was having a hard time fitting that into the engineering category. And I think I may have previously communicated to the council that I felt like it needed to go out for informal bids, based on the fact that I wasn't seeing how the Mini Brooks Act would apply. I've done some more research and got some pointers from their attorney and looked at the definition of engineering under the statute, and this type of work in connection with utilities is considered engineering. So in other words, if we were talking about painting a wall, that's not, but if you're doing painting associated with a utility, that is considered engineering work. So I feel comfortable then that because we're talking about a water tower, which is definitely part of a utility, our utility system, I think we can fall within the Mini Brooks provision that allows us to proceed. However, I think we do need to do RFQs unless it's an emergency. So the statute says even if using the Mini Brooks, you still need to do RFQs to invite qualifications from others. You won't be making a decision necessarily on price. You'll be making it on the qualifications of the person doing it. So I think we would need to go ahead and I guess at our next meeting, perhaps approve RFQ to go out, and then, so it may push it back 2 months to get the RFQ in place.
okay. And to build on that, there is a way in the Mini Brook, you can exempt yourself from the Mini Brooks Act if it's under a certain amount.
Yeah, I think it was, I'm trying to remember what that price is, let's see.
And my question is, the annual amount, if it's less than that, does an exemption apply?
Yeah,
Because
I'm trying to recall what that amount is. There's several of them where it deals with 50,000 is the total amount. And said if we're considering I guess in the first year, we'd be paying Are we still gonna pay the fixed amount, same fixed amount every year, even with the paintings moved up?
That's right, yeah. According to the cost proposal, it's the fixed amount of a little over 30,000 per year for 10 years.
Yeah, I think my feeling is because we're looking at a contract that calls for $300-some thousand over the course of 10 years, I think we're probably above that. But I'm not sure what that limit is. to be honest with you.
Kim was able to do some research online here, and it appears that it's 50,000.
The exemption threshold can exempt projects from the Mini Brooks Act if the estimated professional fee is less than $50,000.
Right.
Do you have 143 with you?
And then the question becomes, if the estimated professional fee annually is 30,000?
38 or something.
Mr. Winfrey.
Go ahead, Tim.
Excuse me.
Let me just finish the question. Does the 30,000, because it's the 1 year expense, fall under the 50, or because the contract is for 10 years and it's 300,000?
Yeah.
So that's.
I would probably err on the side of caution and think that because we're contemplating paying over $300,000 over the course of 10 years, I feel like we should err on the side of caution and
Okay.
do that.
And with that, the next steps would be to instruct you and Robbie maybe to work on an RFQ and submit that, have a deadline and review the qualifications.
Right.
And then we're selecting on qualification based only and not price.
Correct.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Mr. Winfrey, we have in the past voted to exclude ourselves from the Mini Brooks Act, maybe 8 years ago, something like that. That has to be done for each contract. It's not something that you vote one time and then it's done until council votes and changes it.
I guess
It's per occurrence, right?
Per contract, I guess is what we're talking about.
Okay,
Yeah.
Because if it was a continual thing, we've already done it.
Right, that's
We
right.
just had to find it.
That's right.
Excellent. And Scotty, I'd imagine this is all just common, I'll use a word used earlier, vernacular for you, Mini Brooks Act and working, with municipalities, so this is.
Yes, sir. We gave City of Raleigh, it's got 10 attorneys, 20 engineers, and we went through the same exercise. And as I was sharing with these two gentlemen today and our attorney, they have almost $1 billion of assets that we manage. And so they went through a qualification process. We've given them that document that Raleigh's attorneys and engineers put together for them to review. And, I guess I'm old school, why recreate the wheel when you don't need to? It gives those guys a document that's already been tried and proven to pick what you want to put in there. So it just helps you guys get there faster. And like I said, you guys may have some other things you want to add to it or take away from it, but you're not starting from scratch. You're basically piggybacking off the capital city engineers and attorneys who've already kind of built this template. So.
And you'll be able to formally reply to the request for qualifications. You'll send the qualifications to Robbie in
Yes, sir.
response to the formal.
Correct.
Okay,
Yep.
perfect.
Yes, sir. And you guys evaluate it, and the way the Raleigh, I think there was 3, maybe 4 people. They looked at all the qualifications, and we were ranked number 1. And of course, then we sat down, we rolled up our sleeves, talked about the services, what they wanted to actually procure. And then once we agreed and stacked hands, then we went to the contract phase, which, went in front of their attorney. And then we executed, and then we, scheduled work from there. If in fact, let's say for whatever reason, things go sideways and we can't come to terms or agreement, then you go to number 2 and number 3. Just almost like your engineering firms, you may have 10 engineering firms that will all submit.
Mm-hmm.
You might shortlist and then pick one, but if that you can't come to some kind of agreement, you go to the next one, then the next one.
Yes, sir.
So, yes, sir. We're very familiar with this process, and
Okay.
that's it makes everyone comfortable. I think at the end of the day, and you guys get to pick the firm you feel is going to best serve you, not today, but for the next umpteen years. So.
Excellent. So I think at this point, well, first, did look at my colleagues and say, do y'all have any other questions?
I think this is a good idea. Council members come and go. It would put some framework in place in front of us to ensure that we get the proper amount of attention, give it the proper amount of attention to this elevated tank. It's our key piece of equipment. And maybe keep us from doing things like painting it blue in the future or some of those other kind of things. The only, I can't remember where we got to with this, but the only question, and it's ongoing, is do we ever want to consider putting mounts for antennas on top of this tank? And if so, when? And is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? Will we settle that betweenst us?
Based off some figures that I've seen from other towns and the revenue that it can bring in, and the revenue, is my understanding, even though the water tower is owned by the Water Enterprise Fund, the revenue could be used across the general fund as well. That was based off my research. So that is something I would be interested in, and interested to the point where I would, as one council member, even like to see it in the RFQ.
We used to get traveling salesmen that would stop by with the intent of selling us racks and managing racks for us and so forth. I don't recall one stopping in at Town Hall in a long time now. You know, I don't know what that means.
If I could speak to that, if in fact we are fortunate enough to be awarded the RFQ, we've already laid out, I think, what you guys want. Part of our service is to any telco company that comes through here and proposes a build-out, is what we call it, that we would look at all the construction drawings, the structural analysis. We would make sure, because now we both have skin in the game. You own the water tank, but we're responsible for its well-being. And so we do this all the time with many, many clients, that we would make sure that everything is transparent. We would make recommendations, and we would guide you in a way that it wouldn't impede the maintenance, it wouldn't impede safety, and that every year or anytime they touch the tank, we come back and do oversight with engineering inspections to make sure that they're being held to account. And so that's already part of what we do. That's what I was sharing with you about the other engineering services. It's already tied into that.
Right.
So
Wonderful.
And look, what I've seen is that sometimes the money looks really attractive, and it's one carrier, then all of a sudden another carrier comes in there, and then a third and a fourth, and it gets to a point that we would have to recommend enough's enough. Yeah, we can get it to pass a structural analysis with modifications and everything. We can't maintain that tank anymore. So we will also guide you and recommend you when we think it becomes a negative. 1, 2, pretty plausible. We can manage it. We can stay safe. We could do a good job being efficient. We start getting 3 and 4. It's one thing if it was a 2 million gallon tank and I had 100-foot diameter surface area to work with. Your surface area up there might be 45 feet diameter. So it gets a little bit tight. But once again, we would guide you and work with you through that process. And at the end of the day, you ultimately would make the decision. We would just look at other case history on other projects that we've done and we've worked on. And, right now you have T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T. There's really only 3 viable carriers in the marketplace. And you see the Wi-Fi. One thing we find is that there's a big push for fiber and Wi-Fi and stuff like that. And these little mom-and-pop companies will come out here and they'll say, hey, we want to go on your tank. We're going to create, good service. We'll give it to you for free. The standards that we have put forth with the engineering, not just us, but firms around the country, is the same, whether it's a small Wi-Fi company or whether it's AT&T. They usually don't have a lot of funding to pay for the standards we're going to hold them to. And then if they go up on that tank because they're getting federal money, right, that's get thrown at them to get this startup, 3-4 years, they go belly up, they disappear. Now you got all this junk on your tank that you got to pay us to remove. So that to me is a greater concern than the big 3.
Okay.
They have funding. They're used to this. We work with them all day. I just came from a site walk in Holly Springs, is doing a brand new build out there. they're gonna probably generate $50,000 addition a year, which will help subsidize the cost of their asset management that we're providing. And I believe they'll even have some left over, like I think someone mentioned general fund. So
We
it can
don't,
be a good thing if managed properly, so.
we don't have any offers, right? I would just like to see us manage the tank in such a way that if we did have a company show up with very interested, money in hand, we could take care of the engineering, that we don't do anything today that would restrict the access in the future to utilize the tank for that purpose. And I don't know how hard that is to do. Do we try not to try to leave open 3 legs or 2 legs? What would, if we were gonna utilize it in the future, what would we do? Just try to stay off the legs hanging stuff on them, or what?
Yeah, so what I could do is I could send you a CD, a construction drawing of a recent install. So typically, if this is the tank and you have you guys have 4 or 5 legs. We want to go on the inside of the leg, so it's kind of concealed. We stand it off the leg about 6 inches with a messenger pipe. They put a cluster bracket, and that's where the coaxials get routed up. Depending, we don't really like them on the handrail because the handrail is a structural component. It's kind of like if you guys, ladies, held your hands out and I threw a 50-pound bag of concrete, you'd feel that pull. Well, this is the catwalk side wall. This is the edge of it where the kick plate is. You start loading it, it could snap. So we wanted to go on top in a corral, which the structural redundancy, because it's all the way around the side wall in a circular pattern. It's more aesthetically pleasing, and it just looks better. What I'll do is, Robbie, I'll send you some pictures. I'll send you some construction drawings. They'll give you a pretty good idea of what it would look like. You know, and once again, this is a case by case that we would deal with when it came up. There's nothing, in my opinion, you need to do today. You can, but it's one of these things that we're going to talk about it, whether we do something today and put it in motion or when they come knocking at your door.
But normally, this is driven by demand from the carrier soliciting a municipality to install the antennas. We don't hire a broker or somebody such as yourself to go knock on doors at Verizon and say, hey, we have a tank you could use, right?
Yeah,
that would be backwards.
That's correct. It's usually location, location, location. But I will tell you, because of these things right here, all the streaming, all the data that we're jamming through this, they need more sites. More co-location is what we call it, because they're having a problem keeping up. Have you ever been to like a stadium watching a game? You can't get on your phone because so many people are trying to use their phones.
What was it? Co-location? Was that
co-location? Yes, sir. So what? For example, Guilford County, I know the city of Greensboro has a pretty good amount of telcos on their tanks. Our friends over here, Mr. Garfield, he's got one there. That's T-Mobile. And so we're seeing them want closer proximity to be able to push all that data through. They have more bandwidth is what we call it. So we are seeing them reach out to more of the rural areas. There's also a big push by the federal government for that. But it's case by case. I mean, if you guys wanted me to, I just did this with Pamlico County. I just gave them the long and lat of the tanks. They got 9 of them because they're a tier 1 county and they're trying to create some kind of revenue. And that was probably a month ago, and not a single carrier has responded. And so, we could get, and I'm not soliciting for you. I work with these people all the time. Give me your longs and lads. And what they start doing every year, they draw RF rings. Where do we need to be? And they start looking for structures, whether it be a pole, whether it be a giant, building, or if it's a water tank. So, and I'm assuming you guys have a zoning or ordinance that they can't build a 200-foot tower in your court ordinance, or can they? A freestanding tower.
We have them regulated. I can't quote our regulations off the top of my head. Maybe the other council members might be able to.
Not this one.
Yeah, so that's one thing I would discourage about, because we call that NIMBY, not my backyard. And most people at towns like this, they have some kind of ordinance that prevents them from doing that. Now, it doesn't prevent them from going down the road to Farmer Brown, paying him $15,000 a year to build a freestanding tower. We see a lot of that too. And so. Excuse me?
So with that, do we need to continue this?
No, I think we need to make a motion.
Mayor, we're out of order here.
I think,
But if, you know, it's one of those things that I know, I think like the small antennas, they're calling that, they put them up on a telephone pole now.
so I think at this point, we have enough information to make where Robbie and Chuck work together to prepare an RFQ and bring that back to the next town council meeting for us to review, hopefully approve, and we can get this out here advertised and get the ball rolling in July. That kind of mirrors the time frame you had echoed. So, yeah, that's my motion.
Is there a special meeting, any more special meetings coming up before the budget?
No more.
Okay, gotcha.
Second.
If there's a sense of urgency, there's,
We can, if we
Yeah.
need to.
that's right.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, we'll vote. Mr. Rigsby?
Aye.
Mr. Foy?
Aye.
Mr. Landrith?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
I'm aye.
And I am also aye. Thank you, Scotty.
Thank you, Scotty. Looking out for that on the lookout for that RFQ, and
Yes, sir. Appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah,
It's
thank
been
you
a
for
pleasure to
being
work
here.
with you all.
thank you. 9
Appreciate
o'clock
your
on
time.
Thursday night. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Scotty. Okay, item number 10, update and discussion on the codification of the Town of Stokesdale's Code of Ordinances by American Legal Publishing. I think, Mr. Wagner, you and Mr. Winfrey have been communicating and working on this
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit.
I'll be glad to start it off. So last month, you all made the decision to authorize American Legal Publishing to move forward with the codification of the town's development ordinance, essentially take the current ordinance and reflect all the new changes that you all approved towards the end of last year, those being 160D, some procedural things, some patent errors, things of that nature, and something as recent as last month, which was the new floodplain text amendment. So they've been provided with all that information. They've had it all. Ms. Fox reached out to Chuck and I on Monday, I believe, and said that it's in the queue and they're working on it. And I think based off the conversation, I thought they would be done with it this summer, but I could be wrong.
Well, I asked today, and they did not have a date for when it would be
Okay.
up and publishable, but we're expecting, hopefully, in the summer, that we'll have something online.
Gotcha. So just wanted to give you guys that update, and then just to remind everyone that we're halfway done with the project. We still have a whole nother portion, that being the Code of Ordinances in the front and the future land use plan, which future land use plan is in the works.
Have you got the code of ordinances in the book?
Yes, there's a blue book back there in the last office where Miss Martin used to be, and that is the Code of Ordinances.
Like the new?
The new one, yes, yeah, there's a new one as well back there.
Because I've got one, I think some stuff's left out of it. Maybe it's, I'm gonna bring mine up here. Compare it.
Okay.
So, but you got it sitting there.
Which one are you referring to?
The cut, just the code of, I'm talking about the, oh shoot,
You mean the development ordinance, don't you?
no. The regular ordinances like the, oh shoot, what am I trying to say? Where the mayor takes over and.
Okay, just the regular Code of Ordinances, all that.
Yeah, the code of ordinances.
Okay, and so what you have a copy of is the manuscript that American Legal Publishing created. Is that right?
I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it recent? Is it one that I printed for you?
Yeah, but for some reason, it just felt like it was some pages maybe missing out of it, so
Okay.
I'm just bringing it up.
Yeah, we'll take a look at it and compare it just in case. I know that Mayor Stevenson went through it in pretty much in good detail and essentially created a list of discrepancies. So some of those may be addressed on his list.
Yeah, well, what I'm thinking is, maybe it's like, you remember the night we had two different things on the development ordinance? We had two different books. Don't you remember that?
Yes,
We
yeah.
had one.
Oh, where the printing's off. This one, so I'll say this, we only ever received a PDF of, or first it was a hard copy, And then after signing a release, we were given a PDF of that document. And so that one changed so much because we changed the font size to make it legible. This case, we don't have the ability to do that because it's PDF.
I'll just bring it up and make sure that
Yeah,
I'm reading the right thing.
absolutely.
I mean, read it several times, but. we'll
But
make
yeah,
sure.
we have a hard copy of both. We've got the literal manuscript that they mailed to us, and then we've also got the other codes that's been here since 1989.
Yeah, okay. I'll just do it next week, we get some time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that update. I don't think there's any further action at this point on this particular topic. Okay, thank you, folks. We've already had the presentation from Mr. Niesel, so we'll move along to item number 12. This is consideration of the interlocal agreement between the town of Stokesdale and the county of Guilford for the provision of animal shelter and control services. So, as you know, the existing agreement, which became effective July 1st of 2024, is scheduled to expire on June 30th of 26. In anticipation of this expiration, Guilford County has submitted a proposed successor agreement for consideration by the town council. If approved, the proposed agreement would be effective for the period of July 1, 2026 agreement. Key changes in the proposed agreement include the extension of the contract term from 2 years to 3 years, as well as an increase in the annual service fee from $19,808 to $21,802. And of course, this anticipated increase has already been discussed and included in the town's proposed budget for the upcoming fiscal year. Okay, in your packet, gentlemen, you've got an interlocal agreement there that we need to execute in acceptance of this. Robbie, did you have anything to add?
No, nothing to add. I think Chuck's done a good legal review of that. There were a few things that he reached back out to the attorney for the county and discussed with them and got all that stuff fixed before it made its way to your packet. And the only two substantial changes that I found were the length extending out another year and the price going up. So, but we had already anticipated that when we had our first budget meeting. We were thinking of what contracts end this year, and that was the first one on our list, so.
I would point out that there is a right of termination for this agreement. So paragraph 9 of the agreement states that either party can terminate by giving 12 months' notice before the start of the next fiscal year. Depending on when you give the notice, it might be as much as 2 years of notice, but it can be terminated by either side with 12 months' notice. And then there is liability, any claims arising out of the control provision of these services is going to be defended by the county at their expense too, and we're not liable for any claims that may come out of any animal control actions.
So basically, nothing's changed except the duration and the amount.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
T, is the motion here to adopt Resolution R 2026-06?
Well, that's the next item.
That's the next item. I think we need to have a motion to move forward with this,
To adopt the interlocal agreement.
to adopt the interlocal agreement.
Yeah, and authorize the mayors to execute on behalf of the town.
Okay.
I'm going to make a motion that we adopt the interlocal agreement between the town of Stokesdale and Guilford County for the provision of animal shelter and control services. That this agreement shall run from July 1st, 2026 to June 30th of 2029 in the amount of $21,802 per year.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? We'll take a vote.
Mr. Winfrey,
Yes.
you know, at one time I read all the contracts we have with Guilford County, and there was quite a bit of interconnectivity depending on which interlocal agreement or contract you were looking at. And I've looked at this, I don't see a problem, but you've checked this, will have no bearing on, let's say, our contract we have for the fire marshal.
Yeah, I went back and looked at and Robbie sent me the previous agreements that we had. The only one that I saw that had any kind of, where everything's put in one agreement was one that was done in 1992, it looks like. But that agreement dealt with planning, taxing, fire protection, elections, law enforcement, and they were all in one agreement. But animal control was not part of that. So animal control was never even incorporated in that agreement. So I don't see any hooks between the other services that Guilford County is providing to us and these services.
I sincerely appreciate you checking on that.
Okay, sure.
Thank you both. Okay, any further discussion? Ready for a vote, Mr. Rigsby?
Aye.
Mr. Foy?
Aye.
Mr. Landrith?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
I'm aye.
And I am also aye. Now, with that said, we can move on to number 13, which is consideration of the resolution R 2026-06, resolution ratifying and authorizing execution of the interlocal agreement pertaining to the provision of animal shelter in the animal Guilford County to the town of Stokesdale.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we adopt Resolution R 2026-06 pertaining to the ratifying and authorization of the execution of an interlocal agreement for animal control services between Guilford County and the town of Stokesdale.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? We'll take a vote. Mr. Rigsby?
Aye.
Mr. Foy?
Aye.
Mr. Landrith?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
I'm aye.
And I'm also aye. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate that. On to item 14. This is consideration of an amendment to the service agreement for janitorial cleaning services at Stokesdale Town Hall and the Stokesdale Town Park. And Mr. Landrith, I think this is yours.
Yeah, this is just amend the contract. It was $500 and amend it to $600 a month for the cleaning services.
Is that a motion?
Yeah,
I'll second it.
Is it effective?
July the 1st.
Okay.
Okay. Any
We got-
further discussion?
We got the amount in there, right?
Yep.
You did a good job. I'd just like to say it's probably the one job that the town pays for that nobody sticks their nose in her business, and I really appreciate the work she does, kind of an unsung, dirty job like Mike Rowe does on the TV, but I'd just like to say thank you to her. She happens to be listening.
Well, she's doing more than she contracted for to start with, when she first did it, the ball rolls weren't there.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Just to be clear, I think this is a month-to-month contract, so there's no
It is.
term for this,
No,
and so
just month
it's
to
not,
month.
no term, it's just month-to-month.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Winfrey. We'll take the vote. Mr. Rigsby?
Aye.
Mr. Foy?
Aye.
Mr. Landrith?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
I'm aye.
And I am also aye. So, item number 15, consideration of an agreement for maintenance of the athletic fields at Stokesdale Town Park. Mr. Foy?
If, let's see, if this is not the 10th year that Hunter Enterprises has done our soccer fields, we sure are coming close to it. I think they do a good job. We have in front of us an option to renew their contract through the end of the year. Nothing changes. The price is the same. The service is the same. Asking tonight for a vote of council to extend the contract in the amount of $1,000 per month or $12,000 annually with the town of Stokesdale and Hunter Enterprises for fertilizing and mowing of the soccer fields or general purpose fields at Stokesdale Town Park through December 31st of 26, in case I didn't say that earlier.
I will second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? We'll call a question for a vote. Mr. Rigsby.
Aye.
Mr. Foy.
Aye.
Mr. Landrith.
Aye.
Mr. Jones.
Aye.
And I am also aye. Okay. Item number 16 is consideration of a cost proposal for repair and testing of the backflow preventer at the interconnection between the town of Stokesdale's water system and Winston-Salem, Forsyth County's water system. Okay, the town of Stokesdale is required by Winston-Salem, Forsyth County Utility Commission to maintain a backflow preventer at the interconnection between the town's municipal water system and the commission's water system. This device is required to be inspected annually, with inspection results submitted to Winston-Salem, Forsyth County Utility Commission. The town's backflow preventer is typically inspected by Robert Klontz of Klontz Backflows. During a recent inspection conducted several weeks ago, Robert Klontz determined that the device would not pass inspection. He further advised town staff, Robbie, that due to his reduced involvement in repair work, he is no longer performing such repairs and recommended Shane Burton, a former student of his, to complete the necessary work. I think Robbie's had some discussions with Mr. Burton and has received a cost proposal for the repair of the town's backflow preventer, including all necessary labor and parts. The proposal also includes subsequent testing of the device and the administrative submission of the inspection results to the Winston-Salem Forsyth County Utility Commission on behalf of the town of Stokesdale.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to offer up a correction if you would accept that. The backflow preventer needs to be serviced, but I don't know that I would necessarily call it broke. There are people out there that might get the wrong idea if they heard that verbiage.
Okay.
I think the verbiage used was that it would not pass inspection, so we're taking corrective action for that. So call it what it is, or call it what we will, but there's action that needs to be taken as a result of an inspection.
Mr. Wagner, do we have the test data that Mr. Klontz provided?
I'll have to look for that. I don't have it. He hasn't provided it to me. There's a good chance he may have sent it to Priscilla.
I'd just like for us to get it and maintain it on file. It just seems like the prudent thing to do. Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Certainly.
And I'll add, well, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. I was just going to say that we do have a proposal in our packet. And Mr. Burton has completed a vendor registration form for us. But as you can see in the proposal, various things, basically replacing rubber rings plus labor, and then performing the testing. And that's a total of $1,270. He did provide a certificate of insurance. I will say that the company that was shown on the certificate I was not familiar with, so I did check into that, and they are a member of a very well-established Munich Re with an A+ rating from AM Best. I did check the Secretary of State website for Mr. Burton as well, and he is a sole proprietor doing business as After 5 Backflow, and that is documented on that website.
I don't know that it's necessary, but I don't see any kind of evidence here of his certification that he would have from the Rural Water Association, the state of North Carolina, to perform this sort of work.
Well, Mr. Winfrey can touch on that a bit.
Well, I looked into the issue of the fact that he apparently is not a licensed plumber for this. So the question I had was, does one need to be a licensed plumber to be doing this work? And I think it falls within an exception under 87-21 that says you don't have to be a licensed plumber to do minor repairs or replacements of already installed systems. So I think this, because he's not installing a system, he's replacing a component in the system. I think he falls in that category. But I looked at the question of whether you had to be a licensed plumber to do that or not, and I don't think he does. Especially since he's now got insurance, he's provided insurance policy for.
Just from my observation, usually the North Carolina Rural Water Association provides that training and issues those certifications. And I would just hate to find out that he didn't have the necessary credentials, whatever they might be, since we've never hired him before.
Right.
And I will add, he put some references on his vendor registration form, and I was fortunate to speak with two of the references earlier today. The first one is Rick. He's in the maintenance department of Guilford County Schools, and he spoke very highly of Mr. Burton and added that he regularly assists Guilford County Schools with repairing and replacing the backflow preventers for the school system. Added that he was resourceful, essentially doesn't throw anything away, so he's always got a part. And then I spoke with Randy, who's with the maintenance department of the city of Greensboro, added that he has Shane on speed dial and contacts him daily for backflow repair. Added that since Mr. Klontz retired from the city of Greensboro, they have now turned this into a contractor-based service. And he said that Shane probably maintains around 1,000 backflow prevention devices for the city.
Well, given that, you would be amazed if he didn't have the necessary qualifications then.
That is correct.
I'm going to make a motion that we authorize After Five backflow for the stated repair of the town's backflow preventer meter as referenced on a quote number 103 dated May the 6th, 2026 in the amount of $1,270. That the money should come from the contract operations line of the Water Enterprise Fund.
I'll second that, and as a follow-up, we request that After Five backflows provide their certification to perform the maintenance and repair of backflows for us.
What if they don't have any certifications? I don't know, I'm just asking a question, because if he doesn't have to be a licensed plumber, is there a certification out there he has to have, or is it optional?
Well, I'm 100% certain that you have to have a certification in order to maintain the backflows that are at our businesses in the town of Stokesdale. This is a key piece of equipment of our water system. I'm just trying to be cautious and judicious in what we do here.
No, I understand. I just asking the question, is there a certification that he has to have, or would it be, have a better wording of any certifications that he may have versus has to?
As a layman, I believe that to be the case sitting here, but I'm not gonna, not an expert in that field. I don't know for sure.
Yeah. I just don't want to hem him up and say, well, he didn't have it, so let's see what he's got.
I know, but this is a very key piece of equipment in our water system. It's a expensive installation. Winston-Salem would not be happy with us if we don't maintain it properly.
I will add, and we can certainly ask him for this. I just pulled up the North Carolina Rural Water Association's database of certified backflow testers, and Shane Hunter of After Five Backflows is on there, and looks like he's certified through 2029.
Well, then I will withdraw that amendment, Mr. Wagner. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Got it covered.
And I can print that and put it in his file, if that helps you, the database, just in case.
Public water supply, dude, I don't know.
I get it.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay, we have a motion and a second, and thank you for clearing all those items up. Any further discussion? We'll take a vote. Mr. Rigsby?
Aye.
Mr. Foy?
Aye.
Mr. Landreth?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
I'm aye.
And I am also aye. Okay, item number 17 has been continued until the next scheduled town council meeting. Number 18 is consideration of the application of an alternate member of the Town of Stokesdale Town Planning Board. Mr. Landreth?
Gentlemen, you have an application for C.W. Dillon's. Everybody have that?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we add him as an alternate to the planning board. And that Robbie, you'll get the training materials from April.
Yes,
and give to him.
that's right. Yeah, well, I've got training materials from Justin. So
It don't matter who
yeah,
it was from.
Gotcha.
And he'll get the training materials. I'd like to make a motion that we put him on as an alternate.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any other discussion? Okay, I'll call a question and a vote. Mr. Rigsby?
Aye.
Mr. Foy?
Aye.
Mr. Landrith?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
I'm aye.
And I am also aye. Okay, we have an agenda item 18A that Mr. Jones proposed at the beginning. And this was to make sure that we get the minutes added to the town website. Is that correct?
Well, I recently visited our website, and there's a few spots where we have some gaps with our minutes being posted on our website. I don't think it necessary to make a motion and get into the nuts and bolts of this, but I'd just like to ask Mr. Wagner if with council's permission, if we can, get that done in a reasonable amount of time, maybe by the 4th of July or something like that. It's just kind of an administrative chore. I mean, you don't need more bandwidth on our website. You don't need anything that you don't have to get that done other than a little bit of time, right?
That's correct, yeah, it's just a time. I've got it pulled up here, so Mason is actually, it's funny, Mason has been working on this. He's got everything from last year uploaded through June. And in my talks with him today via text, he says he'll finish it tomorrow. So everything from 2025, minute books up to date, signatures are in. It's just a matter of getting them scanned, saved to the shared folder, put up on the website. I'll add, I think 2024, everything's on there. So we certainly don't go back as far as 2000 or 1989. But to my knowledge, for the most part, everything's up there. I will say the way that it used to be done before me and Ms. Martin did it is a little bit different than how we do it now. So it looks different, but essentially that's everything from 23. That's everything from 24 on the screen. Everything from 23, everything from 24, and then here's 25. In 24, I started putting packets on there as well, and then, or cancellation notices for the Board of Adjustment. And then here's all the minutes for 25. And then this year, I changed it again, but I think it's better. It's now broken out in a table to the point where
I did see that.
Yeah.
I think I like that myself.
you can click on the board, you get a roster. You click on the meeting schedule, you get the meeting schedule. And then we got the agenda packet, and then that's where the minutes will go. And then same goes for the Board of Adjustment, the Planning Board, and the Future Land Use Committee.
Well, I think tomorrow's plenty fast enough for me. I don't know about the other council
Well,
members.
and that's for 25. We'll have everything from last year on there as of tomorrow.
I've had a few people ask me about that. Where are the minutes at? Are they online? I looked, they weren't all there. I just hadn't been on it in a while.
Gotcha. Not an issue. And some folks may not understand we're limited on the amount of boxes that we can have per se. So if you click agendas and minutes, that's going to take you to this year. If you want to see anything past this year, go over here to archived. And that takes you all the way back to 2013, according to this.
Seemed like I got there okay. When I can follow it, I would think anybody can.
It takes a lot of clicks, so I get it if people have a hard time. But yeah, not a problem. I've spoke with Mason, and he'll have it done tomorrow.
Great.
All right, I got another question here.
Yes.
Is the heat on? I'm about to fry here. Jimmy, you feel that?
No, my feet are cold.
It's on 72 down here.
Am I having hot flashes?
I don't know if the heat's on, but it's on 72, which is usually
Probably your time
usually
of the
like
month
66
there.
or
Could be.
65. Somebody's turned it up.
I will add that certainly the minutes in this new format, Robbie, thank you for doing that. And
You're welcome.
I know that we've made quite a bit of progress over the last few years with regard to adding those minutes and trying to keep up with them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The good news is, I'll say it again, because it's just as much Mason's doing as mine. We are fully caught up on minutes. Minutes are typed to today, and approved to today, minus the special call meeting that you all just had, and there's one closed session set. But everything else is good.
And I know we've been a key player short for a couple week, for the
Months.
past couple months.
Yeah, that's right, that's right. But,
Since March 3rd.
that's
And
right.
my compliments to Mason and you,
Yeah.
but for staying on top of that.
If it wouldn't make anybody mad, can I go bump like 72 down to 68?
No, I'll be happy to do it. I'm closer. I'm a
Okay.
little hot too now.
And while you do that, we'll move on to item number 19, public comments from the floor. Okay. And there being none, we'll go to item number 20, town council comments. Mr. Rigsby?
Mr.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Mayor, we're going to do our council comments, then we got to go into closed session, right?
Yes, sir.
And then there may be business when we come out. When we go in closed session, I'm gonna need a few minutes to make a phone call and make sure I'm not needed with a problem I got with business.
Sure, okay. All right. We'll move, Mr.
Council
Rigsby,
comments?
any
Jim,
council
you got anything?
comments?
Nothing major. Just want to thank everybody for coming, and it looks like we may get out here before 11:30, which is a plus.
Bite your tongue.
So, but thanks everybody for coming and being part of the process.
Yep, thank you to the folks that joined us tonight. Thank you to staff, to Chuck, Patty, it's great to see you again. Glad that you're here. And as always, thank you to my colleagues. Y'all have a good week.
Yeah, I'd like to thank everybody for being here. We had a few more people on, I guess, because of the public hearing. Patty, didn't give me anything to talk about tonight. If you're going to leave, you might be able to. The night's not over. But also, we're looking forward for Priscilla to be back here before long. And she's probably watching, so I want to say hello to her. She's been gone a while. We need her back. And the guys are doing a good job, but basically because she's trained them.
That's right.
Very true, very true.
Yeah, and thank you guys for having good civil conversation tonight. Living a dream.
Mr. Jones?
Turn the water on, it hits you in the face every morning, doesn't it, Tim?
Yeah, I'd just like to give thanks for being able to live in the town of Stokesdale and remind everybody to have a safe Memorial weekend when it gets around, it rolls around, and also to just keep all of our military personnel that are maybe in harm's way, wherever they may be, in your prayers. Thank you.
And thank you. And again, thank you to everyone who's here and to certainly those that have come and left. I think everyone was well prepared. I think we had good discussion. Thank you, Mr. Winfrey, as always, for all that you do for us. And thank you to my colleagues for being prepared and able to discuss this. Certainly, staff, thank you. I will say that I did see Priscilla Friday evening at dinner. She looked good. She is getting back to her feisty self. She's feeling good and is looking forward to being back with us here in the next few weeks. And with that, I move that the Stokesdale Town Council enter into closed session in accordance with North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A36. The purposes of the closed session are as follows. Consult with an attorney employed or retained by the public body in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the attorney and the public body, which privilege is hereby acknowledged, and to consider the qualifications, competence, performance, character, fitness, conditions of appointment, or conditions of initial employment of an individual public officer or employee or prospective public officer or employee, or to hear or investigate a complaint charge or grievance by or against an individual public officer or employee. Do I have a second?
Yes, sir. Second.
Mr. Rigsby?
Aye.
Mr. Foy?
Aye.
Mr. Landreth?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
I'm aye.
And I am also aye.
It's like the old boy at work said, how much bubbling? I told him, I say, man, 4:30, you just go, like, spend 30 minutes in the bathroom. We're gonna need to work from 4:35.
Okay, you ready? Right, I move that we return to open session.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You do, sure wish you would want to do it.
Okay. Get to
Yep.
my-
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
We had a productive conversation in closed session. Robbie did the performance review for Mason Winfrey. Good performance review. I certainly acknowledge the good work Mason has done with us. We're going to make a motion to reward his performance with a merit increase. It would be a 5% merit increase. I'm going to make a motion that we implement a 5% merit increase for Mason effective July 1st, 2026. His new pay rate will be $22.06 per hour.
Second?
Do we have any further discussion?
No, other than just like to thank him for the work he's doing and progress that he's making.
Absolutely, Mason.
Absolutely. I think we're all in agreement there.
His hours to still be kept at 40 hours a week, correct?
Yes, sir. Nothing's changed there. We're fortunate that Mason came to us and came back to us.
Yep.
Yep.
Summerfield's lost.
It sure is.
Thankful for a boomerang. Okay, any further discussion? We'll vote. Mr. Rigsby?
Aye.
Mr. Foy?
Aye.
Mr. Landrith?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
I'm aye.
And I'm also aye.
One more thing, Mr. Mayor. You know, Robbie and Mason have been operating a little shorthanded with the wonderful Priscilla Hunsucker. Has been out for an extended amount of time. We look forward to her return in early June. But Mason has done a great job just helping out with, you know, a lot of the administrative tasks that Priscilla has responsibilities over, and you know, getting 925 bills out, water bills out with no hiccups is you know, that says a lot. He's I'd like to give him reward Mason for that work with a modest one-time bonus to, you know, we can't afford to do a lot, but you know, in this case, hopefully it's the thought that counts, and I think a whole lot and appreciate the work that Mason has done while he's been here to cover that job. It's a critical job, so I'm going to make a motion that we authorize Finance Officer Kim Thacker to write a $500 bonus check for Mason for the extra work that he's done since March the 3rd of this year and will continue to do through early June.
I'll second.
Mr. Foy, I appreciate your motion. I appreciate Mason Winfrey very much. I've kind of had this conversation with my fellow council members. I'm going to be a no vote on this, but it has absolutely nothing to do with Mason Winfrey. I believe that using this type of reward is not the best course of action for us to start with to show our appreciation to our employees. It's public money. There's a lot of different things that figure in my thinking here, and I appreciate council's earnest while effort on this. It's just one of those points of disagreement that I have with some council members. And again, that's just the way I see it, calling it the way I see them. Thank you. And I am nay.
Any further discussion? Okay, we'll take the vote. Mr. Rigsby?
Aye.
Mr. Foy?
Aye.
Mr. Landrith?
Aye.
And Mr. Jones, you are on record as a
Yeah,
nay.
yeah, I'll say it again, I'm nay.
And I'm an aye. Okay, we do have a few announcements here. Town council announcements. 5/25/26, as Robbie mentioned earlier this evening, Town Hall will be closed in observance of Memorial Day. On May the 28th, the regular Town Council Planning Board meeting is scheduled for 7 o'clock in this room. Then we're into June already. June the 9th, regular Town Board of Adjustment meeting has been canceled. And then June the 11th, 2026 will be the regular Town Council meeting at 7 o'clock in this room. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do it. It is, it's down to 72, which is positive, but it still concerns me because it should be down a little lower.
Thanks, sir.